What's going on, guys? It is MurderInc here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be talking about Shieldguard and his viability as a kind of replacement of your starting champion as your main focus when you're starting out in this game. Now, this is going to be an interesting topic. It's something that I don't think I've seen covered before. As everybody knows, you have Aethel, Elaine, Kayle, and finally Gallic as your starting champions when you're going through this game. The normal and typical advice is to 6-star that starter as soon as you possibly can, because it will provide you the greatest progression you can achieve in this game. However, after doing my challenge series, and if you're not familiar with that, we'll leave some information on the screen here for you just to kind of fill you in on what I'm doing. After I started this series, I kind of went a different route and I found a few interesting things on how my progression actually sped up by following a few simple rules, and it really correlated with one champion. Now that one champion is in fact going to be Shieldguard. Now for those of you who don't know who Shieldguard is, he's a champion that has a rather high drop chance in the campaign, and he also can be found from mystery shards, which are rather common, as well as the marketplace that you have access to fairly quickly on in this game. Was A1 has a decreased speed debuff. He is defense based, so that's a huge benefit over the starters who are attack based, meaning to get the most out of their damage they will need attack percentage, where they do have to sacrifice survivability, as opposed to Shieldguard, who can stack defense, giving him survivability and damage on top of things. So there's a lot there already that you can already look at. Moving on to his A2, this is really the important part of his kit. Attacks all enemy, fills his champion's turn meter by 20% on each critical hit. So the goal is going to be to rush 100% critical chance as soon as you can in this game on this champion, and he becomes an absolute powerhouse. On top of that, he has an awesome passive. Mighty Soul removes 1 debuff from this champion each turn on a 1-turn cooldown. So every single time he gets a turn, he will remove 1 debuff, which is going to be extremely strong. So the conclusion that I came up with, and you can obviously disagree or agree, let me know in the comments and we can talk about it. I'm going to give you a fairly good amount of information here so you can kind of digest it and see what you guys think. But in my opinion, he is going to be the best actual starting champion, and I know he isn't an actual starting champion, but I'm going to stick with he's the best starting champion for any new player in this game as of right now, with the way the game currently is set up, especially with the addition of the Forge, an awesome place to get new gear, so on and so forth. So now the big thing you have to think about is, why do I think he's the best starting champion? And I'm going to tell you why. When you're starting out in this game, pretty much everyone's gone through it. You know you don't simply just focus on one champion. It's very hard to get through all of the campaign with just one champion. So with that being said, it's a lot smarter to go the route of using 2 champions. Then you have to consider, well, which 2 champions should I use? What if I don't pull a good one? Shard RNG, everyone knows how Shard RNG actually works, so that can be problematic. Having a champion like Shieldguard that you can farm very easily from the campaign, as well as checking your market every single day, on top of looking for mystery shard pulls, it's very likely you will see this champion within the first 1 to 2 weeks of actually playing this game, more likely within the first few days of playing this game. So with that being said, the fastest way to progression that I found, if you have watched my challenge series where I'm not using any legendaries or epics including login rewards, I managed to get all the way through brutal in just 7 days without a 6-star. All I did was I started with Aethel, and then I got Shieldguard. I got them both to level 50, ascended them, and then left them as is, and they were able to clear all the way through normal, hard, and brutal. So with that being said, how realistic is this strategy actually going to be? That question is fairly simple, because as all of you guys probably remember, when you do first start playing, you get these awesome lifesteal pieces that are predetermined, as far as I know, as far as the stats that go on them, which is going to fit an attack-based champion. That gear can go directly onto whichever starter you're picking and getting to level 50, and then the remaining gear from the Forge that you'll get, any other upgrades while farming through the campaign, can go straight and focused completely on Shieldguard after that point. Now, one major thing that I think is definitely worth mentioning and talking about is, if you're starting with Aethel, if you're starting with Gallic or Kayle is probably the most common starter, you have to consider, are you going to be building them for damage, which is going to be the smart route to go? Are you going to be giving them accuracy, the debuffs, because Kayle specifically has very strong debuffs in this game. So if you're going to start with Kayle, And even Aethel to this point, you definitely want accuracy applying that weaken or applying those poisons. It's going to help you a ton down the line if you're not lucky with getting a poisoner or those dragon runs that are key to progression. So with that being said, it's rather hard to gear a champion for survivability, damage, as well as accuracy in the early game. So this is actually where Shieldguard comes in handy here. You can focus Shieldguard on strictly damage, don't worry about accuracy at all. The decreased speed is nice, however it's not something I would personally focus on. He is going to be a wave clearing monster. So with that being said, it takes a lot of stress and tension off of the gear options you will actually have for the original starter that you did pick, allowing you to gear that champion smarter and more efficiently, so he will last in that same gear longer throughout the game, which is going to improve your progression significantly. So with that being said, let's go ahead, take a look at the campaign. I am currently just over 30 days into this, so I do have my Shieldguard here. Let's take a look at his stats. They aren't anything crazy at the moment. 28,000 health, 2,100 defense, 164 speed, 105 crit rate, 73 crit damage, 90 resistance, and finally 43 accuracy. So once again, I did not focus on accuracy. All he's doing here is he's providing the wave clear for my champions. So let's see what it's like. And one important thing to note about, and pretty much everyone remembers this when they got to this stage of the campaign, this is brutal 12-3 at the moment. You can actually lose a fight if you have bad RNG and bombs go off on your champions. So if you remember the passive, he's actually going to self-cleanse all of the bombs on himself. Hopefully we'll see it here if he doesn't do too much damage. Okay, Lord Shazar is going to get a turn. It was resisted, unfortunately. Had it not been resisted, it would have been on our Shieldguard here, and he would have self-cleansed that bomb, so you never have to worry about consistency for your campaign farming. This is 100% as soon as you're able to get him to the level where he can clear this. And like I said, I was able to do this at level 50, so the gear requirements are very low since he's a defense-based champion. So what has that allowed me to do? Kind of to my earlier point, this has allowed me to focus Aethel and my newly acquired Kale on this account for more accuracy stats, more survivability, so when I am ready to get into those dungeons, I don't have to focus too much on damage or the campaign for my farming champion. Now there are definitely tons of other options as far as who's the most efficient farmer. You can pull an amazing epic, you can get extremely lucky and pull a legendary and they will instantly replace Shieldguard. However, you do have to consider, once again, Shieldguard is an uncommon champion. So what am I getting at with this? A much lower requirement in the amount of potions that you have to use on him to ascend him, a much lower requirement on actually booking this champion. Since he does have a rather high drop rate, as I did mention before, it's easy to book him as you're progressing through the campaign instead of having to waste any books at all. So this is a very strong point, and in my opinion, it's one of the major keys to success when looking at a champion like Shieldguard. So he's good in the campaign, but what else does he have to offer? So this guy is also going to be extremely good in the arena, not only because he has a rather hard-hitting nuke, but he's going to be filling his turn meter, as we remember, 20% per crit. So that's 2, 4, 6, 80% turn meter, based on him critting all of your targets. Granted, there aren't any weak hits being applied in this battle, so it's more likely than not he's going to be able to lap your opponent if you do get a chance to go first. So let's go ahead, have a fight against this team and see what happens here. We're going to go first with Aethel here. See if we can break the shield. Perfect. Let's go ahead and be safe here and apply the shield buff and continuous heal. We will go for the defense down on everybody but Yannicka. Now we're going to use this A2 battle stance, defense based, see how we do and see how much damage. We are looking for the weak hit on Aethel here. So we were able to crit all of them. So now what's going to happen is, okay, so he was able to cut off 2 of their vital damage dealers here. Now the only champion we should really be worried about, being honest with you, as we can see once again, he actually cleared the defense down. That would have extremely hindered his damage. He's not attack based, so this attack down is completely irrelevant for this champion. There's so much this guy has, and that adds to his kit here. I have to decide who am I going to go and kill. Yannicka, who's probably going to do a massive amount of damage to my team here, since she is 6-star and ascended and being a legendary, or the reviver. I'm going to elect to attempt to kill the reviver. I was just shy there. Okay, Yannicka isn't going to get a turn just yet. Go ahead and kill this reviver here. Now she gets to go. And actually she didn't one-shot our team, which is very impressive here. So let's go ahead and use this A2 ability once again, and it's a 2-turn cooldown, so the fact that he's gaining so much turn meter allows him to use this ability over and over again, especially with the masteries that I will show you after this, how strong this can in fact be. Let's go ahead and try to get some damage onto Ethel because she is going next. We were able to kill her. And once again, we are using that A2. I feel like we've used the A2 so many times already, and he just cycled through them after critting. So we're gonna do this and go ahead and A1 Yannicka. Hopefully we get the kill. Okay, we didn't get the kill just yet. And she is not a crit cap champion, so this is going to be game, set, match for my team, kind of highlighting how strong Shieldguard can be in these situations. So now that I've gone over that, let's take a look at how I masteried this champion. So as we can see here on the screen, I do have Helm Smasher here, and the really important mastery I want you guys to think about is Cycle of Magic. On top of Cycle of Magic, having the ability to decrease the cooldown at the start of each turn, we also have Cycle of Violence. This champion, as I mentioned before, does a ton of damage with that A2, not so much right now because I am rather early into the game, but as I get better gear, since I'm simply wearing campaign gear at the moment, he's going to be doing more damage, proccing Cycle of Violence even more, also having the opportunity to proc Cycle of Magic as well. All of these things reducing the cooldown to a 2-turn cooldown already. Has him in situations that I did just showcase in my most recent episode of the Low Spender series challenge account that I am doing with the account you see in front of you here, where he's in Spider and he's just using his A2 over and over and over again because he's creating so many targets between the Spiderlings and the actual Spider. His turn meter's filling and overcapping himself, and he's just getting all of these turns over and over again until the Spiderlings die. Then the rest of my team gets to go, and it's awesome synergy to watch. So based on that information, that is where I stand on Shieldguard as a progression asset to any new player in beginning account. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? If you disagree, let me know why, because I personally think that using Shieldguard instead of simply rushing all the resources onto your main starting champion, once you break down all of the analytics of what this champion can do, what it allows your starting champion to do that it wouldn't have been able to do without Shieldguard, it just adds up and makes sense. And as I've shown in my series, my progression has gone extremely fast despite some of the obstacles that I have placed for myself. Final thing that I do want to go over here is, where are you going to be able to use Shieldguard once you're done farming in the campaign? Now, you're never really done farming in the campaign. Whether you've been playing for 1 day or 1 year, you're always farming more food to 6-star more champions. It's the way the game goes. It's extremely grindy, but being able to justify a champion like Shieldguard simply for the campaign isn't going to be right. As I mentioned, he's a complete asset in Spider, but he's also going to do very well in Ice Golem as well as the Fire Knight's Castle. Him having such a hard-hitting ability and the fact that it's AoE, and also, like we've said many times already, his turn meter increase, he's going to be a very good AoE clear champion throughout this entire game. So you're not simply investing in the present for your account, you are investing also in the future of all of your progression. Even if you do pull a legendary, like I mentioned before, legendary books, we all know how hard they are to get. This is someone that's extremely easy to book, fully maxed compared to a legendary, and Shieldguard fully max is going to be better than using legendary without any resources in them, especially based on the minimal gear requirement actually needed for this champion to do a solid amount of damage. Alright guys, that is going to conclude my video today on Shieldguard, my personal thoughts about him, making him the best, I guess, starting champion per se in this entire game, since you do have to use 2 champions to really go far in the campaign to make sure you're as efficient as possible. Give me your feedback, open a discussion in the comments, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is slightly skewed? I mean, if you're concerned and you're worried about the quality of gear I'm using, definitely check out the series I've been talking about with the challenge series. You'll be able to see the gear I'm using on Shieldguard from when I first got him, when he was 4-star, 5-star, and 6-star, and you can kind of relate to yourself and say, okay, this is rather impressive, his gear was this low and he was still doing this content, so on and so forth. So give me your feedback, I'm interested to know what you guys think. Alright guys, don't forget, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bells, and I will see you all in my next upload.